The people making real money with AI right now aren't doing what you think. They aren't building the next ChatGPT. They aren't computer geniuses writing complex code in a dark room. And they definitely aren't buying those get rich quick courses that promise you millions overnight. If you have been watching AI videos for months, saving tutorials, signing up for waitlists, and feeling excited, but your bank account looks exactly the same as it did last year, this video is for you. You do not have a motivation problem, you have a focus problem. The biggest lie in the AI space right now is that you just need to learn AI to make money. That is like saying you need to learn the internet. It is way too vague, and it is exactly why so many beginners spin their wheels for months without earning a single dollar. Here is the reality. Two people can use the exact same tool like ChatGPT. One makes $5,000 a month with it, the other makes zero. The difference isn't the tool. The difference is the business model they wrapped around it. So, in this video, I am going to give you the clarity you have been looking for. We are going to break down the only 4 proven paths to AI income for beginners: the service arbitrage, the digital artisan, the content scaler, and the operations consultant. For each of these, I am going to be brutally honest. I will show you the realistic difficulty level, the exact startup costs, even if it is just $20, and exactly how long it takes to see your first paycheck. No hype, just the practical roadmap I wish someone had handed me when I was starting from scratch. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which path fits your personality and your schedule, and you will have the first step to take immediately. We aren't going to waste time on theory. We are going straight into the first model, which happens to be the fastest way to your first $1,000. Let's get into it. But before we dive into the first model, we need to fix one mistake that kills 90% of AI side hustles before they even start. It is what I call the shiny object trap. I know exactly what this feels like because I did it too. You scroll through Twitter or YouTube and you see a new AI video generator, so you spend 3 hours playing with it. The next day, you see a new chatbot, so you sign up for that waitlist. You feel productive because you are learning. But let's be honest with each other. That isn't business, that is entertainment. Here is the hard truth. You do not get paid for knowing which AI tools exist. You get paid for solving a problem. Think of it this way. A carpenter doesn't get paid just for owning a really expensive saw. He gets paid for building a cabinet. The saw is just the tool that makes it possible. Right now, most people are just hoarding saws and wondering why nobody is paying them. The 4 business models we are about to cover are the blueprints for the cabinet. They are the actual structures that turn these tools into income. And here is the best part. This should actually make you feel relieved. Once you pick your specific business model, you can legally ignore 99% of the AI news that comes out every day. If a new music generation AI comes out, but your business is writing newsletters, you don't need to waste a second looking at it. You stop drowning in information and start swimming in a specific direction. We are going to judge these 4 models based on 2 things: your time and your budget. Because if you are working a 9 to 5, you cannot pick a strategy that requires 8 hours of monitoring a day. And if you are starting with $0, we need to focus on sweat equity, not expensive software. So let's look at the first path. I call this the AI service arbitrage. If you need to make money this week, not in 6 months, but literally within the next 7 to 14 days, this is the only model you should be looking at. It requires zero upfront money, and you don't need to know how to code. Here is the core concept. You find a business problem that is boring, repetitive, and time-consuming. You use AI to do 90% of the work, you spend your time doing the final 10% of polishing, and you sell the result as a premium service. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, I'm not going to be a freelance writer, stick with me. This isn't about writing generic blog posts for $5. That race to the bottom is over. The opportunity right now is in being a specialized editor. See, the biggest objection I hear from beginners is this: why would a business owner pay me to use ChatGPT when they can just use it themselves for free? I had this same doubt when I started, but here is the reality I learned the hard way. Business owners have money, but they do not have time. Sure, a real estate agent could log into ChatGPT, paste in their property details, write a prompt, wait for the output, and then fix the weird adjectives the AI used. But that takes them 20 minutes. They would rather pay you $50 to just handle it so they can go sell a house. They aren't buying the AI, they are buying their Saturday morning back. So, how do you actually build this? You need to pick one specific expensive headache to solve. Let me give you a concrete example you can use right now: podcast show notes and repurposing. Every podcaster wants detailed show notes, timestamps, and viral social media clips for every episode. But doing that manually takes hours. Most podcasters hate doing it, so they just don't. Here is the exact workflow you could set up today. First, you take their audio file and run it through a transcription tool. You can use the free version of Otter.ai or TurboScribe. Second, you feed that transcript into a large context AI model like Claude 3 or ChatGPT Plus. You don't need to be a prompt engineer, you just need clear instructions. You use a prompt like this: You are an expert content strategist. Read this transcript. Extract the 5 most controversial quotes, write a 200-word summary that creates curiosity, and write 3 LinkedIn posts based on the key lessons. Third, and this is the part that gets you paid, you spend 20 minutes reading it. You fix the tone, you make sure it sounds human, you add the personality that AI misses, you deliver a finished package that is ready to post. Total time cost for you? Maybe 30 to 45 minutes once you get good at it. Market rate? You can easily charge $50 to $100 per episode. Startup cost? $0 if you use free tiers, or $20 a month for the Pro Tools. If you land just 3 weekly clients, that is an extra $600 to $1,200 a month that pays your rent or covers your car payment. And you can find these clients by simply searching Podcast Editor on Upwork or sending a helpful DM to YouTubers who have good views but terrible descriptions. But here is the secret sauce that most tutorials skip. When you reach out to a client, do not say, "I use AI to write show notes." That sounds cheap. Instead, say this: "I help podcasters reclaim 5 hours a week by handling all their post-production writing. I deliver show notes, timestamps, and social posts that are ready to publish." You sell the result, not the tool. The "I can do this" moment here is realizing that you don't need to be a genius writer. You just need to be the person who delivers a reliable result on time, every time. Reliability is actually rarer than AI skills. However, we have to be honest about the downside. This is still a service business. You are trading time for money. If you stop working, the money stops coming in. It is a job, a high-paying, flexible, AI-powered job, but it's still a job. But what if you don't want clients? What if you want to build something once and sell it 1,000 times while you sleep? What if you are more introverted and hate the idea of sales calls? That brings us to the second model. This is where we move from service to product. Let's talk about the digital artisan. If the idea of answering client emails or hitting tight deadlines makes you want to throw your laptop out the window, then this second path is for you. This is the holy grail for most people because it breaks the link between your time and your money. In the service model we just talked about, you have to show up to get paid. In the product model, you do the work once, upfront, and that single asset can pay you dividends for years. The concept is simple. You use AI to create digital assets, things like stock photos, specialized guides, templates, or printables, and you sell them on marketplaces that already have millions of buyers, like Etsy or Amazon KDP. Now pause for a second. I am not talking about generating a random picture of a cat and trying to sell it as an NFT. That ship has sailed, and frankly, it was never a real business model. I'm talking about creating digital utilities. Things people actually use to solve a problem or save time. Let me give you a concrete example. There is a massive market right now for educational printables on Etsy. Teachers and homeschooling parents are constantly looking for worksheets, lesson plans, and flashcards. Before AI, you had to be a skilled illustrator and curriculum designer to enter this market. You had to draw every single line by hand. Today, you can use a tool like Midjourney or ChatGPT. You can type in a prompt like black and white outline, coloring page for toddlers, farm animals, clean lines, vector style, and generate 50 unique, high-quality designs in an afternoon. You take those images, bundle them into a PDF using a free tool like Canva, and list it on Etsy for $5. Here is the math on that. If you sell 10 copies a month, that's $50. Not life-changing, right? But here is the magic. Once that listing is up, it requires 0 minutes of your time. It is a digital file, Etsy handles the transaction, the customer downloads the file, and you get the money. Now imagine you spend a month building a shop with 50 different listings, coloring books, wedding invitation templates, specialized Notion dashboards. Now you aren't making $50, You are building a portfolio of income streams that stack on top of each other. But we need to have a very honest conversation about the difficulty here. The barrier to entry for this model is low, which means competition is high. The shiny object trap I mentioned earlier, it kills people here too. Beginners try to sell everything. One day they upload a meal planner, the next day a sci-fi poster. That doesn't work. To succeed as a digital artisan, you need to be boringly specific. Don't just sell AI art. Sell watercolor clip art for wedding planners. Don't just sell prompts. Sell marketing prompts specifically for real estate agents. The more specific you are, the less you compete with the entire internet. Here is your I can do this moment. You might be thinking, but I'm not a designer. I don't have an artistic eye. That is exactly why this model is so powerful. The AI handles the technical skill of drawing, shading, and rendering. You don't need to be the artist, you need to be the curator. If you can scroll through Pinterest and tell the difference between a good image and a bad one, you have the only skill that matters. You are the creative director. The AI is just your intern who never sleeps. So, here is your practical first step for this path. Do not go build your own website. Do not pay for Shopify. Not yet. Go to where the customers already are. Go to Etsy, go to Adobe Stock, or go to Gumroad. Search for a category you are interested in, look at the best sellers, and ask yourself, can I use AI to make a version of this that is 10% better or catered to a different niche? Start with one product, just one. List it, see what happens. The downside? It takes time to build momentum. You might upload 10 products and sell nothing for the first 2 weeks. That is the ghost town phase, and it's where most people quit. But if you push through that and build a library of assets, this is the most scalable income you can build. However, maybe you don't want to sell files. Maybe you want to build a voice. Maybe you look at channels like this one, or newsletters, or blogs, and you think, I want to build an audience. That brings us to the third path. This is where AI becomes a leverage machine that lets one person do the work of a 10-person media team. Let's talk about the content scaler. If you've ever dreamed of having an audience, whether that's a YouTube channel, a newsletter, or a niche blog, but you gave up because you didn't have the time to write, film, and edit every single day, this is your second chance. In the past, running a media business was a grind. To publish a high-quality newsletter every morning, you basically had to chain yourself to your desk for 4 hours a day. It was a recipe for burnout. The content scaler model changes the equation completely. It uses AI to turn one person, you, into a media team of 10. But before you get excited, I need to give you a serious warning. Most people are doing this completely wrong. You have probably seen those channels telling you to generate 500 blog posts in one click or auto-upload 50 TikToks a day. Please, do not do that. That is what we call AI slop. The internet is drowning in it, Google is penalizing it, and nobody reads it. That is a race to the bottom, and you will lose. The successful content scaler doesn't use AI to replace their brain. They use AI to replace the grunt work. Here is the winning strategy. You become the editor-in-chief. Let's say you want to build a newsletter about sustainable gardening for beginners. In the old world, you would spend 3 hours researching topics, 2 hours writing a draft, and another hour editing. In the new world, here is your workflow. Step 1. You go to a research tool like Perplexity AI. You ask it, what are the top 5 questions people are asking about composting this week? It gives you topics backed by real data in 30 seconds. Step 2. You take one of those topics and feed it into Claude or ChatGPT with a specific structure. You say, write a structured outline for a newsletter about this topic. Include a hook, 3 main tips, and a counterintuitive insight. Step 3. The AI gives you a solid first draft in 1 minute. Now, and this is the critical part, you spend 45 minutes rewriting it. You inject your voice. You add a personal story about the time you killed your tomato plants. You double-check the facts. You just produced a piece of content that used to take 6 hours, but you did it in 1. This means you can be consistent without burning out. And in the content game, consistency is the only metric that matters. So where is the money? How does a newsletter actually pay the bills? It comes down to trust. Once you have an audience that trusts you, you have infinite ways to monetize. You can recommend products as an affiliate, like a specific set of gardening tools, and get a commission. You can accept sponsorships. Eventually, you can launch your own course or community. If you have 1,000 loyal readers, that can easily be a $2,000 to $5,000 a month business. But I promised you honesty. So here is the reality check for this model. This is the slowest path to your first dollar. With the service arbitrage model we talked about first, you could get paid next week. With content, you might work for 6 months and make absolutely $0. You are shouting into the void. You have to be willing to work for free for a while to build the asset. But unlike a service business where you stop getting paid the moment you stop working, a content business creates an asset that grows in value over time. A YouTube video you upload today can still be making you money 3 years from now. That is true leverage. Here is your I can do this moment. You do not need to be an expert to start this. You don't need a PhD in the topic you choose. You can position yourself as the explorer. Your content can simply be, I'm learning how to do X, come watch me figure it out. People love that. It's actually more relatable than a guru talking down to them from a mountain. If you are just one step ahead of your audience, you are qualified to lead them. So if you have patience and you want to build a brand that you actually own, this is the path. But maybe you are looking at all this and thinking, I don't want to write content, I don't want to sell files, and I definitely don't want to hunt for clients on Upwork. I just want to help real businesses fix their mess. If you are organized, logical, and like solving puzzles, the fourth and final path might be the most lucrative one of all. It's called the operations consultant. If you are the type of person who loves logic, puzzles, and efficiency, if you're the friend who organizes the group trip spreadsheet, this is where you can make serious money. I often refer to this model as being a digital plumber. Think about a typical small business, a local gym, a dentist's office, or a real estate agency. On the outside, they look fine. On the inside, their operations are usually a disaster. They are copying and pasting data from emails into spreadsheets manually. They are missing sales leads because nobody responded fast enough. They are drowning in admin work. Your job isn't to write their emails or design their logo. Your job is to build the machine that runs their business. You use no-code automation tools like Make.com or Zapier, combined with AI to solve these problems permanently. You are effectively building custom software for them, but you are doing it by dragging and dropping blocks on a screen, not by writing code. Let me give you a real-world example of a $2,000 setup. This is something you could build this weekend. Imagine a local construction company. Every time someone fills out the Get a Quote form on their website, the owner gets an email. He usually forgets to reply for 2 days. By then, the customer has hired someone else. You come in and build a simple automation. First, when a form comes in, your system instantly triggers an AI agent. Second, the AI reads the request and drafts a personalized, friendly text message acknowledging the project details. Third, it sends that text to the customer within 30 seconds. Fourth, it adds the customer to the owner's CRM and alerts the sales team on Slack. You just turned a lost lead into a booked job. To that business owner, that system is worth thousands of dollars a month because it directly makes them money. The income potential here is the highest of all four models. Unlike the service arbitrage model, where you are paid for your time, here you are paid for the result part. You can charge a setup fee of $1,000 to build the system and then a monthly retainer of $500 just to keep it running. If you have 5 clients, that is a full-time income for managing systems that mostly run themselves. But I need to be very clear about the difficulty level. This is the hardest path to learn. You need to think like an engineer. You need to understand logic. If step A fails, what does step B do? If the connection breaks, how do you fix it? When you are the operations consultant, you are the one they call when things stop working. There is pressure here. However, here is your I can do this moment. You do not need a computer science degree. The tools we use today are visual. If you can draw a flowchart on a napkin, you can build these automations. The AI actually helps you build them. You can literally ask ChatGPT, how do I connect a Google Sheet to Slack using Zapier? And it will give you the step-by-step instructions. You are not inventing the technology. You are just connecting the dots for people who are too busy to do it themselves. So those are the 4 paths. The service arbitrage for quick cash, the digital artisan for creative products, the content scaler for building an audience, and the operations consultant for high-value systems. The question now isn't, does AI work? The question is, which one of these fits you? And more importantly, how do you actually take the first step right now without getting overwhelmed? Let's bring this all together and get you started. You now have the 4 blueprints. But here is the dangerous part where most people fail. It isn't because they picked the wrong model, it's because they tried to pick two. You cannot build a newsletter, start an automation agency, and sell digital prints on Etsy at the same time. If you chase two rabbits, you catch neither. So, right now, we are going to make a decision together. I want you to look at your current situation honestly and pick the one path that fits your reality. Here is your final cheat sheet. If you have a zero budget and you need money within the next 30 days, choose service arbitrage. Swallow your pride, find a painful problem, and solve it for someone else. It is the fastest route to cash. If you are introverted, you hate sales calls, and you want to build assets that work while you sleep, choose the digital artisan. But remember, you have to be patient enough to build the library. If you want leverage, and you are willing to play the long game to build a personal brand that you own forever, choose the content scaler. Just know that you won't see a paycheck for months. And if you love logic, you want high ticket clients, and you enjoy fixing broken things, choose the operations consultant. Pick one, just one, and commit to it for the next 90 days. Now, here is your homework. I don't want you to close this video and just think about it. I want you to take one concrete action in the next hour that makes this real. If you picked service arbitrage, go to Upwork or LinkedIn and find 3 people who are already hiring for the service you want to offer. Don't apply yet, just find them. Prove to yourself the demand exists. If you pick the digital artisan, generate your first 5 images today. Don't worry about selling them, just create them. If you pick the content scaler, write the outline for your first newsletter or script. And if you pick the operations consultant, sign up for a free account on make.com and do one tutorial. That's it. Don't buy a domain name, don't pay for a logo, don't file for an LLC. Those are procrastination disguised as work. Just do the thing that actually generates value. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't more information. You have enough information now. The gap is simply the courage to start and the discipline to keep going when it gets boring. A year from now, you could be looking back at this moment as the day everything changed. You could have an extra $2,000 coming in every month. Or you could be exactly where you are right now, watching another video about how to make money. The choice is yours. If this video gave you clarity, subscribe to the channel. We are building the most honest corner of the internet for AI entrepreneurs. No hype, no fake promises, just work that pays off. Pick your path, take that first step. I'll see you in the next one.